What's up, reefers? So, I got a question today from I'm not Toxic Zoa, I think is what it is. And he was asking why I use this, which is kalkwasser, and I wanted to like go over that. I really didn't go over that in the other video, and I probably should have. And how I use it and how I started using it. Um, Really, it comes down to do you have enough coral that are using up alkalinity, calcium um, in your reef tank? And for me, my alkalinity was dropping throughout the week, where it was able to basically my water change setup was not able to keep up with the demand on the alkalinity. So for me, I've always used kalkwasser back in the day. It is super simple. I do recommend being very careful with, it's a very fine powder. You don't want to breathe this stuff in. You don't want to, it's pretty potent. It's lime water, basically, essentially what it turns into when you use it. But on the back, for full saturation, and I weigh this out. I use a little, like a food scale that goes down into grams. On the back, it says um, 6 grams or 2 teaspoons, sorry, per 1 gallon is full saturation solution. That is not where I would start with this. I would start minimum at half, 3 grams per gallon, and I would weigh it out. I wouldn't do, especially if you're just starting off, I wouldn't do the teaspoon method. And the only reason why I say that is because weighing it out, you'll get the actual amount. Um, it will be exact. You can use it as like a measurement tool. Doing like, I guess if you do a leveled off teaspoon, you could, but I always do weight. It's much easier, more accurate, and you get the same thing every time. When you get to a point where you're using full saturation, it doesn't matter. You just put as much. You can literally put as much in there as you want. If you ever seen a kelp stirrer on YouTube, that's basically full saturation kalkwasser. Again, I recommend starting with literally. It says 3 grams. I'd even start with 2, just so that you can, watch your levels, especially if you have a point where you're losing alkalinity throughout the week and it's not being replenished at the amount you want it to be at with your water changes, then your kalkwasser will help that out. Um, Sorry about the tank. I don't have a filter on today, but I do. Where are we here? It's kind of hard to read. Let me see if you can't. You might be able to pause it right there. But it says 6 grams per gallon. Again, I'd go less than 3. I'd do 2, and I'd measure it out by weight. Um, and all that does is that helps with my calcium, alkalinity, and the big thing it helps is raising pH. If you have, a large household, you have many people living in there, cats, dogs, whatever. Everybody is releasing CO2 into your house, which depresses your, or I should say, not depresses, but suppresses your pH because of the CO2 that's in the house. I use this to raise it up. The tank seems to thrive off of it, and I feel that a higher pH gives the coral a better chance of survival. That's my biggest thing that I've ever taken away from using it. But I figured I'd want to touch base. With this stuff, you really want to start slow. It's not something, that if you've never used it before, don't put full saturation. Full saturation will probably mess all kinds of things up that you're not ready for. Definitely test alkalinity, calcium, and your pH. Alkalinity and pH daily with this stuff. It's not something to really mess around with when it comes to that, because things can go down quickly. That's why I recommend 2 grams, and then when you start getting to a point where the 2 grams isn't keeping up with your alkalinity because your corals are growing, raise it up to 3. And then when it can't do 3, raise it up to 4. and I do this in my auto top off. You can do it in a with like a dosing pump and dial it in, but if it's in your auto top off, start very slow, start without full saturation, and do it that way. If you do use a dosing pump, you can use full saturation, but you'll really want to dial back the dosing at the beginning. Again, you should be testing when you're doing anything with dosing. I wanted to just touch base on that because I did have a question. But if you guys have any questions, just hit me up in the comments and let me know. And hope that answered one for you. Thanks, guys.